Good morning, it's Ruth Reinhard from Health Through Fitness and also the ambassador for Think Bold, Not Old. And welcome to the first in a series of 10 conversations off the couch. And my first guest this morning is the very, very brave Fiona Brown, who is the founder and CEO of YouTopia Wellbeing, and an extraordinary woman that's doing things very, very differently these days. Good morning, Fiona. Welcome.
Oh, good morning, Ruth. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for being so brave and being the first one in the inaugural series of 10 conversations that I'll be having. So Fiona, you're located in New South Wales, and of course the marvels of technology have us coming together to be able to chat this morning. So I'm really grateful for that, full of gratitude that we can in these troubled times actually still connect. So Fiona, I've got some notes, and if I don't read off them, I'm going to miss something really critical, and it's just the amazing work that you do. So you have an eclectic mix of skills, which really attracts me, because I think, wow, you're doing things really differently. You've got lots of talents and experiences that originally come from a background of nursing. But now that far exceeds that modality to include personal leadership coaching, facilitating and training, NLP and matrix therapies, Reiki healing and teaching, and my absolute favourite, which is the hypnotherapeutic meditation. So how do you do it all?
I'm a good juggler, Ruth.
Welcome to my world, the circus, the world of the circus. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you don't need to be in a circus to learn the skill of juggling.
I'm the clown, love. You can be the tightrope walker. So Fiona, in my mind, nursing is a very traditional career to have chosen, and obviously you probably did that when you were starting out working. And I think from where I sit is that nursing is one of the most honourable careers, and most people go in it certainly not for the money, and you wouldn't be a nurse for quids at the moment, but they go in because they want to make a difference in people's lives. So I'm seeing that connection between your nursing background and the new modalities and the new journey. Were you able to use, obviously you've been studying for a while, doing these other things other than nursing. Were you able to kind of introduce any of those different modalities into your nursing work at all?
Yes, I do, very subtly and quietly, but yes, I do. It was about 12 years ago that I started to do these or learn these other modalities, and it happened at a time where I turned 40 that year, and I felt like in my nursing role I really loved what I did and I was very good at it, but politics was getting in the way, and that was causing me to feel a little bit unhappy with where I was at. So I actually at that point decided to leave nursing, which I did for a few weeks.
A few weeks? Was that a tough decision for you, Fiona? I would imagine that would have been tough.
It was, because the role I was doing was as a clinical nurse consultant continence advisor for a hospital in Dubbo, and I was covering 25% of New South Wales. So I was travelling all over the shop to little country towns, seeing patients, doing clinics, education, research, things like that. But I also had two very young children. They were only, at the time, early primary school. And I felt like I was wearing too many hats. I didn't have enough time. I forgot who I was. So it wasn't until that my body started to tell me it's time to do something about it that I took notice. So what I was finding was that at the time I was only working 3 days a week, and I'd wake up on the first day of my sort of working day for the week and I would feel nauseous, and my eyesight started to fail. And so I started to listen to my body, and I thought I need to make a change. So on the day of my 40th birthday, I drew a line in the sand and I said, after this day, I will never be unhappily employed again. I took 5 months leave. I got rid of a whole lot of monkeys off my back, like guilt if I didn't go back, things like that. And then I So I quit that job, and within a number of weeks, without applying for anything or even looking, I was offered 3 different jobs, and I took one of them with an eye specialist, and I continued to work for him right up until a few weeks ago. So that was for 12 years. So
Wow.
I trusted my gut, I listened to my body, I took action, and then things fell into place.
And so many of us don't listen to the bodies. As you know, I had a very long career in the service, in the public service, and on the day that I took redundancy, I almost skipped. In fact, I think I did skip down George Street in Brisbane, and
Yes.
and the saddest bit was leaving the people behind. But I realised that I just it was a means to an end for me. I wanted to make a bigger difference, and I think that's where the connection is for you and I, is that I see you making connections with the outside world. And when I, as an ambassador of Think Bold, Not Old, and whilst I'm in that over 50 space, you know, having that courage to step out of what is considered the norm, I suppose, in society, in our community, that, you know, you do one career and you do it for the rest of your life. And I think that's what I'm looking for, and what attracts me to people when they've just decided, no, they're going to make a difference in a different way, but still take the skills with them.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I'm hearing here is certainly, you know, listening to your body and things like that, which traditionally, for a lot of people in their third act, you know, so the people over 50s and 60s and 70s even, that I find with clients, it's very hard for them to kind of move out what was a traditional base of what was expected of them. And so Fiona, your change, if I'm doing some calculations here, your change to go from working with your specialist must have been knocking on the door about when COVID-19 started becoming obvious to us here in Australia.
Yes.
Has that impacted where you thought the journey was going?
Absolutely.
Has it? Yeah. So what are you doing differently? What were you going to do, and what are you now doing post COVID-19?
So when I decided to give up my 35-year nursing career, which took months of reflection and introspection and planning and thinking, when I finally got to my last day was 3 days before COVID-19 hit and the lockdown and things like that came. I had planned to be going out and doing more facilitation and workshops and things like that, so a lot of face-to-face work. And then it went from me traveling for my work, because I worked, just 1 hour and a quarter from home. I went from doing a lot of driving and seeing a lot of people and doing a lot of education and things like that, to all of a sudden in my home. That's it, in front of my screen.
Here you are. Here we are.
But to be honest, even though I haven't ventured out of the house much at all, I shop once or twice a week, I have been having conversations with sometimes, well over 100 people in a week. Sure, we're face to face, but with a screen between us. But I'm getting a lot of joy, spreading my reach to places that I wouldn't normally drive to. Like, we've been in contact many times, and, we're hundreds of kilometres away.
Well, that's right. And before my listeners kind of start feeling sorry for you, Fiona, I should point out that you probably live in one of the best places in the world, and your backyard, you're allowed to go out and walk along the beach, and you tease everybody else back here in the swampland in Brisbane in particular with these beautiful photos. And I just want to scratch your eyes out. I just thought I'd share that with you and the listeners. But being a Piscean, I need to be near water. So I've worked out I can get out to Redcliffe here from Brisbane, and it's within the 50k zone. So Fiona, if you were going to choose one blessing that COVID-19 has delivered you on a platter, what would it be? What would be the biggest blessing that it has given you?
The biggest. There are many. The biggest would be time to stop and reflect and really think about how I want to move forward, rather than just reacting to, all of a sudden leaving nursing and venturing into a new space, venturing more full-time into a new space. Rather than just reacting to that and doing what I thought it is that I wanted to be doing, stopping and reflecting, as I said, and thinking and planning better, and in a way that doesn't feel rushed. And, testing things. For example, as you said, I do, hypnotherapy work, which traditionally I've been doing face-to-face, but to be able to have, 2 group sessions a week that I run on a Monday and Thursday evening on Zoom to do a hypnotherapeutic meditation with people, and, sometimes up to, 9 or so people on at a time, all in the comfort of their homes doing meditation and hypnotherapy, while I'm sitting in my office in the comfort of my home doing that, and people are getting positive benefits. So it's become easier in some way.
Yeah. And I'm probably a testament to that, and we'll talk about your hypnotherapeutic meditation towards the end, because you've got a great offer for my listeners. But Fiona, one of the biggest things that I've found around this whole COVID thing is that, the media hype, and it's brought out some of the best things in people, and the kindness. There's a kindness pandemic thing going on and whatever, but there's also a lot of fear that I'm seeing with people as well. And particularly when you're told, you're in that over 60 group, and, you're at the greatest risk, and I'm thinking, oh God, like, there we go. And I'm thinking, really, and maybe in other cultures, maybe that is the issue. So I've had to kind of activate some personal things for me about how I deal with that. But so for your personal journey, what are some of the things that people can do to kind of, just step back from all this media hype, I guess is what I'm saying, and the nasty stuff that's going on? So what do you do personally? I'm going to snaffle whatever you do, I want to do it.
So I actually stopped watching the news about 12 years ago, because the news is all about sharing a whole lot of things that really by choice. Why would we want to hear about someone, being murdered, or car crashes, or, horrible things, or things that are happening around the world that don't impact me directly? So to stop watching the news or listening to the news meant that, my world was about, what impacted me. And if there are things that I need to hear about, like a pandemic, I hear about it. I don't have to turn on the news or the radio. I find out by word of mouth through people who, who are watching the news. So I allow other people to be my filter. I don't have to use my brain to filter out a whole lot of nonsense and things that aren't going to impact me. I use the people around me, and they know what I need to hear about or want to hear about, and that gets shared with me. Believe me, if there was just a purely good news channel, I would watch that.
I love the fact, no wonder I'm so exhausted. I must be your filter, am I? Everything's going through me. And I love that analogy about let everybody else filter it and then get the pure stuff to you. Louise Hayes, I remember I've got one of her CDs in my car. Yeah, there are still CDs around, believe it or not. And she always says, if she's meant to know something, somebody will let her know. And I think, it is that basic. And all this clickbait stuff that's going on the media at the moment is, I think it's doing more damage. I understand that we have to be aware of things. And that I love that filter analogy. I'm going to steal that from you. So Fiona, as you know, I'm a celebrant. I'm also a funeral celebrant. I'm standing up the front of your funeral in 40 years' time, which will make me pretty damn amazing, I can tell you, because I'll be over 100. What is it that you want me to tell the world about Fiona Brown? What's your legacy?
Well, my legacy is probably to be brave. And, that's what you mentioned at the very start of this. But being brave is all about stepping out of your comfort zone into a space that, sure, it feels uncomfortable, but there is so much magic in it. In that space of discomfort, that's where we find greater wisdom and learning. It's where fun happens. It's where excitement exists. It's where we get to do the things that we never thought we were capable of. And the more you get into that space of discomfort, out of your comfort zone, the more you actually get to like it. I'm actually a bit of a discomfort zone junkie because if my life feels too the same and things are just same every day, I feel uncomfortable.
Oh, I want to
Because,
be like you when I grow up, Fiona. I
thanks, Ruth.
think my word for the year was courage, and I think for the world, there's that's a word for everybody this year. So I'll play that back and make some notes so that when I'm your funeral celebrant, I can make sure that the word is out. But it is interesting, isn't it, about what legacy we want to leave to the world. What's next for
Absolutely.
you? What's next for you, Fiona? I mean, there's lots swirling around in the world at the moment. So what's next for Fiona Brown?
Oh, what's next is more of the same. So more coaching. I'm going to be doing a couple of retreats coming up
Oh,
towards
yeah.
the end of the year.
Pick me.
You're in.
I need a plane to go from here to Newcastle, though, love. So no way I'm driving to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not yet.
And you're writing a book for post-COVID. I think we were having a bit of a quick chat before we came online.
Yeah,
And you're doing something, yeah.
it's more a workbook, so it's not just read the words and take it in. It's read the words and do the work. So it's a workbook to help people reflect on what have they been thinking and feeling during these times. And we're all experiencing different things. We're shopping differently. We're relating to people differently. So how to take the good and the bad and turn it into what do you want your we talk about after COVID-19 going back to normal, but it's never going to go back to before. And we don't want that because we've surpassed that.
Yeah.
So it's how to create your new normal in a way that's going to be best for you. So it's not reacting to what happens after COVID-19. It's how to be proactive and create the life you want after lockdown now. That's what it's about.
And I mean, I think there's been lots of books in the past that kind of, faff around the edges on that a little bit. But I'm really interested now because my life, I don't know it yet, but my life is changing. I'm doing interviews like this, which I never thought I'd be doing. And that certainly took some courage. I'm taking my some of my over 50 fitness classes online in a couple of weeks. I never would have thought. I always thought it would have to be face to face. So the whole fitness industry is changing as well. My biggest delight is I have a client who's visually impaired, and she's training with me at the moment, and we're doing one-on-one, and just seeing, we're out on a bike path, a walking path, and just seeing all the parents out with the kiddies. And I think the biggest winners out of COVID-19 are the bike shops. And apparently you've got to book, if you want to have your bike service, it takes you about 3 weeks to get in around here at the moment. So, that's pretty special to me. I love hearing the laughter of children, and of course homeschooling for me has been a massive change in the way I relate to my 10-year-old grandson, and so that's been a pretty special journey. Hey Fiona, I want to talk to you about my favourite subject, hypnotherapeutic meditation. As you earlier mentioned, you do a couple of free sessions on Monday and Thursday nights through Zoom. I absolutely love them. As you know, I'm not the best sleeper in the world. I have an overactive brain. I procrastinate like crazy, which I think contributes to it. But on the nights that I do this session with you remotely on Zoom, is that I always sleep my maximum of 6 hours, which was the case again last night. So I feel like I can take on the world. Tell me a little bit about it and tell our listeners how, and I'll put a link up when I post these conversations up. I'll put a link back to your business also about how people can link into this on a Monday and Thursday night. So tell me a little bit of the background about hypnotherapeutic meditation.
Well, it's a term I coined as a way of bringing together two of my favourite things, which is meditation and hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
So I've been doing conscious hypnotherapy for a while, and I've been meditating, and I run meditation groups within some of the workshops I do. I've been doing that for quite a while. And when I thought, if I can do it as a group, then I can offer something to people online free as a way of just calming their farms at the moment.
Yeah, my farm's calm.
People have so much going on in their heads at the moment, so it's a really good way of helping empty out some of that stuff before people go to sleep.
Yeah.
So for those people who feel a little bit freaked out by hypnosis, and typically when people think of hypnosis, they think of stage hypnotherapy or hypnosis where people are,
Yeah.
making people,
Clucking like
like
chickens
chickens.
and no control of their life. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But your
Okay.
unconscious mind will not let you do anything that you don't give it permission to.
Yeah.
Um, so when I do the groups online, what I'm doing is taking people through an induction or a way of getting into that state of mind where their brain waves are slowing down, they're accessing their unconscious mind, and creating a space of openness where I can take them through a script that is enabling them to reduce their anxiety, increase their state of calmness, their confidence, their groundedness, relaxation, things like that. So the script I use after the induction is very much a generic scripts to help people feel, better than they currently are.
I love them. I love them. I love particularly the way you count us through the breathing.
Yeah.
Because it forces me to I'm a bit of a shallow breather, which, if you let it get out of control under stress, can end up having panic attacks with it. So I wanted to go back to sleep at 5 o'clock this morning. And so I did some of the counting, and then the ego brain just, the monkey brain took over. But I just love it, the fact that I don't have to cluck like a chicken on a stage.
Yeah, no clucking.
No, it's a sense of control, not being controlling, but I go into a deep meditation when I'm doing it with you. And as you know, I tend to say a very quick good night, so not too much chatting. And because I live on my own, I can go straight to bed, and I love it. It just, as you say, calms the farm. I love that. I think I might steal that one too, because it's just absolutely brilliant. Hey, Fiona, absolutely a delight to talk to you today.
Thank you.
I think when I started coining in my head about conversations off the couch, and because we can't do them on the couch, it's all remote at the moment, so that's why it's off the couch. I wanted to choose people that were making a difference in the world, could support my listeners, had stepped up to do something different, and the way you do your business, stepping out from nursing. I can equate to that for my public service life, where it was a bit nervous. If I hadn't been skipping down George Street, I probably could have pretended I was broken-hearted, but I kind of thought I missed the people, but I wanted to be out in the world making a difference like you. So thank you so much. Keep teasing and taunting us with the beautiful photos of beach life down in New South Wales.
I'll have some wild ones coming up because
good on you. You just do that, love. My only takeaway from this though, Fiona, is that the water's freezing cold down there, and up here in Queensland, particularly up around the Noosa area, if they ever let me go back up there again, the water's still a lot warmer, and I train and swim all year round in a pool, but I can't even get near a pool at the moment. So I'm absolutely drop dead envious of your world, and it does make me think, do I need to kind of get out of the city? So thank you. I'm so grateful for you sharing your life with us. You're going to send me some links today, particularly around the hypnotherapeutic meditation. I'd love that. It's free for everybody. So thank you everybody for listening. And I'm hoping to do a one every week of conversations. I've got a few people lined up. They don't know it yet. So people are going to get a tap on the shoulder. So Fiona, absolute delight. And I'll talk to you offline in a moment. So thank you everybody, and have an amazing, amazing day.
Thank you very much, Ruth.
Stay safe.
Bye.